Hey guys, today I'm gonna be reacting to a video called Recipe for Success, France's Pastry Culture. France is pretty famous for their pastries. I think there's a great, I don't know if there's a difference actually between like the savory and the sweet pastries, desserts, I don't know what to call them, just pastries in general. But there's always like croissants, there's eclairs, there's tarts, there's like so many different kind of things, and that's not getting into like croquembouche and so many, like again they have so many different things. I'm excited, so let's check it out. This looks like so good. I'm getting hungry.
You make cakes for the people you love. I think that's where my passion for pastry begins.
L'amour que j'ai pour ce métier.
Oh, that chocolate.
If it's beautiful, people will be drawn in, but if it's tasty, they'll come back.
That's so true. I love it. Yes, absolutely. Oh my god, is that like a lemon pie? Lemon meringue tart? I forgot about macaroons. They look so good.
Macaroons, millefeuilles, opera, eclairs. Welcome to a sinfully sweet edition of France in Focus. I'm Nadia Charby, and this week you join us in the gourmet aisles of one of Paris's best-loved department stores to talk about the French art of pastry making. While the country faces some stiff competition in the wider culinary world, patisserie remains a French preserve, and with good reason. Take a look.
Yes, they're so popular.
With more than 35,000 establishments in France, French patisserie is a thriving sector. It employs more than 180,000 people, and one of every 8 of them is an apprentice. A young and innovative industry then, as well as a lucrative one, with €1 billion in revenue every year.
Oh my god,
whether it's on TV or social media, the number of patisserie fans is growing. 38% of French people buy theirs in shops, while 46% prefer to make their pastries at home.
So
from macarons to eclairs, millefeuilles, or the Saint-Honoré, there are more than 120 classic confections, as well as regional specialities.
Oh my god,
Patisserie dates back to the 16th century, when the first choux pastry was created by Catherine de Medici's personal chef. Some pastries are luxury items, with a collection of haute couture macarons coming in at €5,000.
What do they have?
Price as a kilo of gold leaf-coated chocolate truffles.
That's
another
a
marker
scam.
of their great success, an International Patisserie Day, as well as the macarons' own special feast day on the 20th of March.
Okay, would love to attend
a combination of technical skill
like
and creativity, the latest generations of young pastry chefs have elevated dessert making to a veritable art form. Add to that a sprinkling of TV bake-off shows, a dollop of social networking, and some amazing designs, and what you're serving up is a French addiction.
It's a cold day in Paris, and a queue is already forming along the Avenue de l'Opéra.
Okay, why?
Some of these people have been waiting for hours, and it's all for a piece of cake.
Okay, what kind of cake?
On coming here, I took the day off.
Even if I need to wait 3 hours, that's okay. I'll wait 3 hours.
Okay, so it's that good.
Shop is a pastry world superstar. Cédric Grolet was named the world's best pastry chef in 2018, and those with a sweet tooth can't seem to get enough.
Oh my god, I want to go
We
there.
doubled our production. We did the best we could. People are buying at an incredible speed. The first person
there's so
arrived
many
at
people here.
11:30 last night.
For the fans who want to try their own hand at making pastry magic, star chef Christophe Michalak teaches the tricks of the trade at his masterclass in the heart of Paris.
Bonjour tout le monde. Ah, comment ça va? On va faire péter la panna cotta.
Oh my god, even kids.
Ok, alors c'est parti. C'est fou, on va passer
Okay, so all levels?
Tout ce qu'on va faire va être goûté là sur place. J'ai mis du jus de citron et j'ai mélangé ma cassonade avec un peu de pectine pour avoir une texture un peu ouais, plus soyeuse, exactement. C'est 2 associations très simples, très rustiques, mais qui marchent à 200%. Vous versez votre panna cotta, vous laissez figer au réfrigérateur et puis hop. Donc lait de coco, crème, vous mettez un alcool, vous mettez un zeste d'orange si vous voulez.
This looks beautiful, but
directement sur votre assiette.
yours isn't going to look like that.
Christophe Michalak, hello.
Hello.
Thank you very much for having us. Why do you think pastry chefs have become such rock stars here in France?
Alors,
First, you need to bear in mind that just 20 years ago, at the start of the noughties, pastry chefs and patisserie in general were never in the spotlight. It's really in 2004 or 2005 that I was able to take part in a few TV shows and make a name for myself. And the first pastry bake-off show was the one I created in 2007, which is when pastry slowly began to take center stage.
That's crazy. That's like
you
very
mentioned TV shows. How does this branding of your style and expertise actually affect the way you work?
In 2010, I really wanted to put the focus on making sure that each pastry chef developed their own style. Up until then, everyone just copied each other's work. And I'm pleased to say that it's now the case. There's been real progress with the new generation of pastry chefs. But let's not forget that above all else, our job is to pass on our expertise and recipes.
And so that's what you do here with your masterclasses.
Exactly. This is where I share my take on pastry. Imaginative, rock and roll, modern. I also love old recipes. Sometimes I use recipes from 10, 15, 20 years back.
And that's old?
Inspired by fellow pastry chefs. And it's good to talk about other people's work, not just your own.
And why is France still the world's leading pastry nation, do you think?
I think French patisserie leads the pack for the simple reason that pastry is an integral part of our culture, and we're also lucky to have many regional specialties, from Brittany's Queen Amande to Alsatian Kugelhof. Those are incredible riches.
I've never seen those.
How would you describe haute patisserie?
La priorité, c'est de créer des émotions.
First, it's about sparking emotion, but behind that emotion, you need to give your cake some structure and work like an architect, layering flavors, layers, and temperatures. It's a long process that, done right, allows you to serve up some truly insane pastry.
The spotlight is now on pastry chefs here in France, and that's created a lot of vocations. What's your message for wannabe pastry rock stars?
Ce qui est fabuleux, c'est que
I think it's fantastic that TV has fueled so much interest in this job, because I know that when I started out, my friends were told, work at school or you'll end up like Michalak baking cakes on a Sunday. Nowadays, everyone wants
and look who's laughing now.
On a Sunday. So we need to remember that it's an amazing job that requires passion, but also hard work. You need to do the hard graft, pay attention to detail. It's not easy. And what you see on social media is one thing. It's great, but it's not necessarily real life. For every stunning cake, there's 70% of preparation and cleaning.
And out of the time
70% de préparation et de nettoyage.
And so where do you see French patisserie going from here?
Well, when I was asked that question 10 years ago, I would say, I hope that French pastry making will become deeply personal, that each chef will learn to express their identity through their cakes. Now, as we enter a new decade, I think the focus is more on being mindful of the ingredients you use in a cake to ensure that it's good in every sense of the word.
Well, like sustainability.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now, as we've seen, high-end patisserie often comes with the added sweetener of a tasty narrative and design. But seasonal, organic and responsibly sourced produce have only just started to feature on the menu. Let's take a look now at a few French pastry chefs with an appetite for sustainability.
It's all hands on deck in the pastry kitchen of Des Gâteaux et du Pain. But amid the flurry of activity, Chef Claire Damon never loses sight of a key idea for her and her team: pleasure. Taking the time to choose the fresh fruit that will go into these creations, the pleasure in tasting, peeling and cooking them,
pumpkins,
then the high standards when it comes to selecting these organic, seasonal products. The origin of the ingredients is a serious subject.
It's important from an ecological point of view and from a taste perspective too.
Yeah, they're going to taste better.
Produce has a very different taste based on its origin. For example, when you use the new variety apples, the flavor is very standardized, the shape is very uniform, and the methods of production are too.
A hands-on session with one of the bakery's signature pastries.
You see, for this apple turnover, there's a week of work that goes into it. There are lots of different stages and manipulations of the pastry.
It looks so shiny.
Our signature is that we take our time, the time for the pastry to rest, to work with the fruit. Since these are fresh products, we have to understand how to handle them.
The sort of technical attention to detail that has long been the norm in gastronomical restaurants, but less so in patisseries. They're principles shared by pastry chef Jean-François Fouché, who tries to practice what he preaches. He's testing and tweaking the new season's creations in his Parisian shop.
I brought you a little of everything from the orchard so we can work on it together. Here are a couple of examples.
After years working in high-end restaurants, Fouché set up his own patisserie production in Normandy, where he wanted to outlaw chemical additives from his desserts, but admits it was a risky choice.
Why?
I'm not going to lie, food colorings do give a lovely effect visually. That was a risk when we started. We thought we'd lose sales. But once we'd explained it to our customers, they really liked this approach, and they came back for more for that very reason.
Yeah, you just have to explain that.
Like Claire Damon, Jean-François Fouché has strong links with local producers and is a supporter of sustainable food networks. His goal is to be 100% self-sufficient for the production of his pastries, thanks to his orchards, fields and meadows in the countryside in Normandy.
Of course, but he owns them.
We
Of
leave
course,
this
he's here.
edition. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to France 24.
Everything looks so good. I want everything. Oh, this was incredible. I love this. There's like so many, to begin with, there's something that surprised me is that the one of the famous chefs was I think the whole popularity started, well, not started, but I think it became more mainstream. It was around 2007, he said. And that's a bit surprising to me because I would think, I think France has always been known for this kind of thing. So it is kind of strange to me that I think 2007, I know it was a long time ago, in comparison, it was 20 years ago or something like that? Around 20 years. So it's wow, 20 years, that's a long time. But is it though really? Because it's no, it's France. I would expect everyone to be if you would come, the cliche of people coming out to their parents and be hey, what do you want to do? Do you want to go to college? What is it that you're after you graduate high school? They're no, I want to be a chef, a patisserie chef, a pastry chef. And people, I would assume most parents would be in France would be well, good, great, good for you. But apparently it was no, it's frowned upon. And people their friends and their parents' friends were oh, that you have to go to school, stay in school, kids, otherwise you're gonna end up as he does, just baking cakes on a Sunday or something like that, which I think is really funny. And obviously these days he's always pretty famous. So it is well, he got revenge and he's I got the last laugh. But it is kind of funny to me that apparently 20 years ago, that was a little bit no, what are you doing with your life? And these days, I think it's more normal probably for people and young people to be hey, I want to follow this path. I want to be a pastry chef, and people are going to be well, good. It's a well, you're going to earn. You're going to make good money. There's enough in the job. There's going to be job opportunities. It's not going to be oh, where am I going to get a job? It's no, there's plenty of places. Just in France, that's not even not even in the whole world that you can actually be. And just in France, there's plenty of places and plenty of places that you can actually do this. So love it. I love that they're keeping the tradition alive because again, it's a little bit of a cliche of being oh well, of course it's France. They're known for all these kind of things, for their pastry. But it is good that they're known for a reason, and they're still to this day, they're doing it and they're trying to continue the tradition. It's good. I find that so wonderful. And I love the fact that one of I think it was that same chef that he was yes, I want to the emphasis is on actually making new generations of actual chefs that can do this, because otherwise that's how you get that's how things get lost. You wait 20 years and then no one can do this, and then the art is lost. So I love that he has an emphasis on trying to teach his art basically, because I think it's an art form, and he's trying to teach all kind of students and all kind of people how to do these things. So I love that. On one hand, I find that incredible. On the other, I also didn't know, because it was yes, this is a sustainability kind of thing. It is kind of weird, when you think about it. It's they were yes, it is not that common to see that. I think there's, in the last few years, there's been this, you have to more a lot of chefs and a lot of kitchens. There's been an emphasis, and there's been an effort to actually move towards sustainability and making farm to table and all of that things and all of those things. But it's more actual an actual restaurant. Like there's like we're sitting down and then you're telling, you know, they're telling you like, yes, you know, like, you know, the vegetables that you're getting in this salad have been like they're like we grow these things ourselves, stuff like that. But it's more in restaurants. In pastries, in pastry, like I don't know, culture and pastry like items, I would be like, yeah, but what does it mean to actually be sustainable? Because you're not using like that many fresh vegetables. At least that's what I think, because I'm thinking of desserts, that is like fruit. Of course, a lot of desserts do use fruit. So of course that you're gonna be, if you're approaching like sustainability, you're gonna want to grow like your own fruits. But I think you know, I don't think they mentioned this, but I did saw some vegetables. So I would assume that the chef that's trying to be, you know, very like green about this, I think I'm guessing he also does like savory pastries, maybe an onion tart, or I don't know, some other probably like vegetables that are in season, and he makes all sort of concoctions and creations. But I find that interesting because it's true that it's not that common to hear people in the pastry world to be like, oh yeah, we're trying to be sustainable, we're not going to use artificial food colorings and stuff like that. And I like it. It's like, yes, I hadn't thought of that, and it didn't even occur to me actually. Like, oh, of course, because they have to use like food coloring. They have to use a lot of like corn syrup or maybe sugar syrup, like some other things that are probably not, you know, you can't actually like create yourself. So he's actually trying to move towards it's a different kind of pastry, which I like. They look pretty different, which I appreciate as well. If you compare it, like his work with the ones from like the one in the beginning, they look pretty different, and I love it. It's like you have all kinds of variety, and it's great because it's like, yes, you know, you have like a little something for everyone. So it's incredible. Like in the variety, like it's how it should be. I do have to say, like, again, with the art firm and stuff, like one of the chefs was like, this is, you know, you have to be actually like an architect, because when you're creating one of these things, it's not like you have to actually think of like how it's gonna taste. You know, when, you know, chefs usually, obviously that's obviously I think their main sort of like, when they're creating a new recipe, they're creating a new dish, a new something, of course it's going to be like, how does this taste? Like, how do the flowers complement each other? The flavors complement each other, and how does it going to taste? Like, how the final product. But I think, and usually, obviously, you want this to be pretty. You want your dish to be visually appealing, because otherwise, people are not going to want to eat this. You know, that's just like a rule, you know, of life. But I think in pastry, that is so important, even more than in just normal like restaurants and other like main courses, because it's like you really do, you look at all these beautiful things and you're like, oh my god, they look so beautiful that I just want to eat it. Or maybe it gets you like the opposite effect of, this looks so pretty that I don't want to eat it, because it looks so gorgeous, it looks so delicate, that it's like, oh no, I don't want to eat it, I just want to look at it because it's gorgeous. And it's like a little bit of that. But I think in pastry, it's so important to actually like be, you know, for it to actually be pretty, and for people to be like, you know what, this looks good and I want to eat it. I think that's probably the one thing. It's like it should look like that pretty, and as prettier as, you know, I don't want to eat it because it looks so pretty. That's what you should aim for. I think it's like, I think that I can't even think of like a highest form of regard that someone telling you like something like that about a dish that you created, or about a pastry you created. Like, wow, this looks so beautiful. Like for instance, like the fruit desserts, the fruit pastries that they showed at the beginning. I haven't had those specifically. I've not the ones that he created, but I have similar and, you know, just prepared by other chefs. And I didn't know that he apparently was a pioneer, but now I get it. Like, oh, they're probably all of the, he created probably like this sort of current, this sort of fashion, this trend of like creating these pastries that look like the thing. Like maybe it's an apple, and obviously inside when you open it, it's things. It's obviously has an apple, obviously has other things like caramel or something. I don't know, but it's all relevant to obviously the shape of the fruit. Like you have a passion fruit, and it's just like, or a lemon, and inside of it there are those flavors, but obviously the outside is of the fruit. And I didn't know that he was apparently the guy that created this trend, because I think they've been like very popular in the past few years. So it is like, oh, so this guy created it. It was French, and he was French, of course. Like, why would I have expected something else? Of course, he's like the French guy that did this, because it is very imaginative, and it sounds so like, how come has never, like, I don't know, like it's been like on trend for a few years, but it's like, how come this wasn't famous before or on trend? Because it seems so like, how come no one has thought of this? It looks so like easy, but it's delicious, and you can really see the difference between something like this. It looks very shiny, and I was gonna say maybe not real. It's realistic, but obviously not really. They look so shiny and perfect. It's like, no, I know that the actual fruit itself doesn't look like that, but you compare that to the one that grows the whole thing organically and all, and again, you can really tell the difference. And it's like, yes, I love all of them. I want to try all of them. I want to have all of them, and I want to go to France and do like a tour of all of these like famous places, these pastry places, because again, it's delicious, and I think France has like so many pastries that are delicious. I don't know, like all of them, they're so good. And I didn't know that they had like so much. It was like a 200 things that apparently France created. Obviously there are ones that are more famous than others, like the Madeleines, and I don't know, the operas. Like there's ones that are clearly more famous, but they have more than I would have expected. It's like they have like 200. It's like, okay, incredible. I want to try them all. But that was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.